For this lesson, we're going to be talking about how to play chords on bass. When we think about chords, what chords are composed of is the first, the third, the fifth, and the seventh notes of any scale. So for example, in our Mixolydian mode that I just showed you, starting on G, which is G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and then G, what we're going to do is we're going to pick out the notes that would compose the chord. So we have the G, the B, the D, and the F. On bass, it's a little more difficult to play chords because it's not like a piano where we have every single string for every note, so we can play very lush, full chords. The bass, we only have, in my instance, 5 strings, but in most cases 4 strings. So what we need to do is we have to pick the most important notes of the chord and get rid of the ones that aren't so important, since we don't have as many options. So for the G Mixolydian or G Dominant 7 chord, which is what it's called, we're going to get the first, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. But we're going to omit the fifth because it's the least important note of that chord. It's the least defining note. If we look in the major scale has a fifth in it. If we look in the minor scale, it also has a fifth in it, or also in the Mixolydian scale, which is what we're covering right now. They all have that fifth. So since they all have it, it's a least important note, or it's a least important interval to define that chord. So what we're going to do is we're going to omit the fifth, and we're going to play just the first, the third, and the flat seventh. So we get this sound right here, and I'm going to show you on the higher G. Right there is a G7 dominant chord, and we're using the first, the third, and the flat seventh. Now this is how you would voice it, and voice means how you would play the notes on the A string on a bass. But a lot of times we want to play the same chord but voiced using the root on the E string. So to do that, the trick that I do is instead of doing this, which is the same chord an octave lower, since that's a little muddy, I'm going to take this third right here and bring it up an octave. So I have all the same notes, but I'm voicing it differently. So now I have the first, the flat seventh, and the major third right there, and it gets a more clear sound. So again, you can play either the G7 here, or you can play it up here like this. And that's how you play a G7 chord on the bass.